Hello everyone. So I usually put up a video every single year around this time of my favorite thrillers. And I thought, since I do that a lot, let's switch it up a little bit and let's talk about thrillers I think that are perfect to read in the fall. By that I mean they're spooky, they're atmospheric, they give you those fall vibes, because I do believe there's a lot of thrillers that are perfect to read in summer and there's a lot of thrillers that are perfect to read in the fall, and these are what that's going to be all about. I think this is going to be exactly that. Books to read around fall time, around Halloween time, to get you in that spooky spirit. Thrillers that are just encompasses all things fall. So let's get into it. The first book I'm going to talk about, is come to no surprise probably, is Home Before Dark by Riley Sager. This is my favorite Riley Sager book. I've read all of his. There's some I like and there's some I don't like, and then there's one that I love, and it is this one. So this book, we follow a character named Maggie, and Maggie and her parents lived in this old estate. I want to say it was called Banbury Hill, for like 2 weeks when she was like 5, and basically something sent them out running in the middle of the night one night, and they've never looked back. But her father has made a book all about his experience in Banbury Hill. I think he even calls it, what did he call it? House of Horrors. And it became really popular, and obviously this takes place many, many years later. Maggie's father actually passes away, and he leaves her the keys to, you guessed it, Banbury Hall. So Maggie's like, you know, I'm going to go back to this place and figure out if it's really haunted or not, because she's never believed her father. Like, this house is haunted. I don't remember. I was like 5. So she goes back there to kind of redo it, like redo the house, because that's exactly what she does. And she decides to uncover the secrets that her family might be hiding, and whether or not Banbury Hall is very haunting or not. This book is perfect to read on Halloween or near, the Halloween times. It definitely gives you the Haunting of Hill House vibes. It's very similar to that, because it's all about a house and trying to uncover if it's really the house that's spooky or if it's something else. And it's a great book. It's got it makes you think about ghosts and hauntings and things like that. I mean, the cover alone, perfect book to read in the fall. Likewise, since we're going with the haunted house theme, we're going to talk about Kill Creek by Scott Thomas, one of the scariest books I've ever read. This book, again, is about a house. So in this book, we follow 4 different authors. That's right, authors, which I always love reading books about authors. It's so interesting to me. But basically, they're all thriller kind of authors, and they get invited to be interviewed at this super creepy house called Kill Creek, and basically they have to spend the night there and see if they can survive a night at Kill Creek, and it kind of goes on their experience from there. It is a very interesting book. It does take a while to get really into it, but man, let me tell you, the last 3/4 of it are intense. So this book, again, has the spooky vibes of spending the night at a haunted house. Is this house really haunted, or have legends just preceded it and made it super haunted? And the fact that you have all these thriller authors that are so keen into writing about these actually particular things, it's just very, very interesting. This book goes into each author and how they write, also how their time at this house has really affected them in their writing. It's a very creepy book. I'd say if you're horror novels, check it out. If you're a horror novice, much like myself, because I don't read a ton of horror because I'm the world's biggest chicken, this is a great book to read. It might scare you. You might need to sleep with the lights on, but it's a book that's great to read in the fall. The next one is The Guest List by Lucy Foley. This could take place in the summer. I'm not 100% sure, but the cover, just the setting alone, really reminded me of fall. It's set on an island where it's constantly rainy, constantly foggy. If that's not a recipe for spooky fall, I don't know what is. So basically, like I said, this book takes place in a remote island off of Ireland, and people are going to this island because they are attending the wedding of Jules and Will, and it's a pretty big wedding. It's a big deal. And so you follow a myriad of characters, including the bride and groom, their guests, things like that. And basically in this book, a murder happens, and you have to uncover not only who did it, but who got killed. And it's very interesting. There are a lot of unlikable characters in this book. You don't find yourself rooting for a ton of them because you're all so unlikable. But it was very interesting uncovering the mystery, and I really love the ending. This is one of the few thrillers I've read where the ending was just it hit it on all marks for me. I love the ending. Didn't see it coming. A lot of people could argue that it did, but I personally didn't see it coming, and I loved it. So it's got the spooky, creepy island, fog, thing checked off. So I really liked it, and again, would be perfect to read in the fall. The Shadows by Alex North. This book is creepy as mess, which makes it a perfect combination to read in the fall, in my opinion. Any creepy book just automatically gets the fall category for me. Maybe I'm alone. Should I say Halloween? But no. fall, I guess you could say. So in this book, we have a character named Paul, and he was friends with a couple of people when he was younger, and one of them being Charlie. And Charlie was kind of like the ringleader of their group. And Charlie had a lot of, not the best things about him. It says, some part of you suspected that he might be capable of doing something awful. Charlie, that is. 25 years later, Crabtree did just that, committing a murder so shocking that it's attracted the strange kind of infamy that only exists on the darkest corner of the webs. So in this book, we follow 25 years later, we follow Paul, who was part of that group that kind of saw this big crime happen, and he has to go back hometown to help care for his mother, but also he learns that there has been more strings of murders exactly like the one that has happened that night with kind of him involved near his hometown. So he has to get involved and try to figure out who did it, and it's a creepy book, I'm not going to lie to you. The ending wasn't 100% there for me, but goodness me, this make me want to sleep with the lights on. It was kind of almost, it's also kind of supernatural in a way, which is another great combination to read in the fall. But this one, like, it creeped me out on so many fronts. Great book to read in the fall. The last book I'm going to recommend to you that I think is a perfect book, thriller book to read in the fall, is Mexican Gothic by Silvia Morano Garcia. This is a horror book, but it's not that super scary, but it makes it a fall book because it's very gothic. And when you think of gothic horror, you think of Halloween, at least my opinion. So this book takes place in 1950, and basically we have a main character named Naomi who receives a letter from her cousin that just got married and like moved away, like remote location with her husband, saying like, hey, I'm not like doing so well, like this house is weird, my husband's weird, this whole situation's weird. So Naomi, being a good cousin, is like, okay, I'll go there for a few weeks and figure out exactly what is going on. So she goes there to visit her cousin who is sick a lot, and she meets her cousin's husband's family and how weird and kind of off, kilter they are. And also this house is very, very odd. Not even the house itself, which begins to invade Naomi's dreams with visions of blood and doom. So this one, it's a very gothic type of house. It's got that creepy factor that was there. Like I said, it wasn't super scary. I wish it was a little bit more scarier. And the plot, like the ending was it wasn't far-fetched, but I felt like I didn't love it, if that makes any sense. But goodness me, it's a perfect book to read in the fall months for like creepy factor, for gothic factors. Like it's got it. It's there on those fronts. So there you have it, a short but sweet list of thrillers that I think are perfect to read in the fall months. That'll give you those spooky vibes, get you ready for Halloween, get you ready for the boogeyman and all those things. I don't want those things, but you get what I'm saying. I would love to know if you've read any of these or what books you would recommend thriller-wise to read in the fall that will get you perfectly there in the fall spirit. Please let me know. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.